previous experience and what he is presently doing. So, Mr. Sudhakar Singh is an engineer, strategist, and researcher. He has over 18 years of experience in the field of waste management, climate change, and sustainability. He is also a corporate advisor. Presently, he is working with T-Hub as mentor for different programs. He is also mentoring various startups that are at different stages of their product life cycle. Previously, he worked with EID Ferry India Limited. He also worked at IIT Ropar, Punjab as visiting scientist. He also worked at EBRI Birmingham as UK Researcher Associate and Project Lead, and with KIT Germany as Associate Scientist. He worked on various national and international projects and received many awards. Also, sir is the one of mentor for our startups in the college. So, sir, we are like to have you here with us. Thank you.
So to address women entrepreneurs or women wannabe entrepreneurs, first of all, thank you, Madam Secretary, for giving me this opportunity to speak to all of you. And I'm not, like she said in the intro, I might not be a great expert, but I'll try to share whatever little knowledge I have got in the areas what today I will be discussing the topics in terms of business plan and also in terms of financing and with respect to MSMEs. That will be the second session, which will be after this. But in today's session, in this particular session, what I'll be covering is what is the business plan, what is product planning, and the product mix strategy. So I think few of you we have, I don't know, I see some familiar with this. We might have interacted over the cohort the last 2 weeks or the last 2 months. But for those who don't know me, I'll touch these topics very briefly. The reason I say very briefly is business plan or a product plan or product planning and product mix strategy is something, these are vast topics in itself. I mean, it is very difficult for not only me, for any professional also to cover them in a span of 1 hour or 15 minutes. So what we will do today is we will touch the very vital aspects of what is business plan, what is product mix, that kind of thing. Having said that, I know business plan is something which comes at a very fag end of your entrepreneurship development. I mean, like the first thing that there are many more important things in the beginning which you do. A business plan comes. Ideally, a business plan is a document or a report which comes in handy when you want to, when you have established your business, when you want to go outside to the outside world and want to let people know that this is your business and you want to somehow raise funds or somehow make it public kind of thing, that this is what we're doing. So, with not much of further instructions, I'll quickly jump into this. Yeah, will you go to the next slide? Sir? So, what is a business plan? I mean, how many of here are MBA students? If I just raise your hands. So, are you first year or second year? First year. So, anyone have idea about what is a business plan? I mean, you guys just started or second semester? Oh, good. So, what is a business plan? We put it in plain English. It's a simple. It's a report. It's a report. Now, for example, you are. Let's assume one of you is running a business and you want to raise some funds. You want to approach a bank for a loan. You want to go to a bank. You want to go to a friend, or you want to go to an investor. You are asking for a loan. We all need money to run the business. That's a fundamental entity which is required to run a business. So what do? You just go to a bank and tell them, sir, I have this idea, or I have this project. It works great. Can you give me a loan? What bank says is okay. All is good. Whatever he's saying, whatever you mentioned, it's all nice. But I need it in a proper document form, kind of a report, a project report. We all know we are all academics here. So whenever you conduct a lab or you take an exam or something, what is the end of it? You ask the student a report, because it is not that verbally how much he understood in one way. but how can he document it well? That is another way you look at it. So the bank seems to sit in the fashion that, okay, you approached me for a loan, I heard you. You have a great idea, you have a great product, or you're already making some good money, but for scaling up or for expansion or for whatever reasons, you need money. So you're asking me money, but then you also need to give me a report, a project report. So in academic terms, if I in a business terms, we call it a business plan. In academic terms, if you have to put it that way, a business plan is nothing but a project report, a detailed project report which covers several aspects of your business. So what are those aspects of the business cover? We will come back to the next slide. But the document, which you can ideally call it as a report, that contains the operational and financial plan of the business and details how its objectives will be achieved. So for me, if I'm the bank or financial institution or venture capitalist or even an angel investor, this document gives me the entire information of what your business was, if it was already running, and what your business is going to be in the next coming 3 years, 4 years down the line. And when we say details of financial plan, is that whatever the money you are asking for, how to do it? So it's like so small. So you are asking manufacturing from all, so you got to justify it, what are you do, how you work. So that is it serves as a roadmap for the business and can be used when pitching investors or for them to make finance. So in principle, you make a business plan only. I mean, it can be, you know, all activities of your business, but why do you make a business plan is you make a business plan because you're going to an external stakeholder, whether it is to raise money in the form of debt or we can also see other ways of doing it. So, can you go to the previous slide? And there is a standard format and contain all the and there is a, like I said, there are different templates. There is no one standard format kind of a thing that this has to be format. As long as it contains all the essential elements in it, like we said, what are those elements will come, then it is less okay. Yeah, totally. So what are the contents of the business plan? So the first thing, whatever reports we see or whatever, even if a standard book you take, what happens? First is what you find is a table of contents. So what is the table of contents do is for whoever wants to read the book or whoever wants to read the report, he knows in that one page what is there in the book. So that is one is the executive summary. So the executive summary is something for people who doesn't have the entire time to read the report. He can read that 1 or 2 pages and can actually understand what you are presenting in the report. So this is the more or less called the heart of the document. For people who doesn't have time to go through your 40, 50 page of analysis of what your business plan is, they might go through the first 2 pages and then they make the decision. Yes, this can be funded, this can't be funded. Or the financials are not that great, or the strategy is not that great, kind of. So executive summary is very, very important. Then comes the industry overview. For example, you are into a restaurant business. You are doing a restaurant business, and you want to scale up. So you also have to give industry overview, a generic view about how many restaurants are there in your vicinity, or what is their market share, what is your market share. Now there is no one in this, so it also covers competitor analysis and all that. So that what comes with the market analysis and competition. Then you also have to have a sales and marketing. Now you said I need 1 crore or 2 crores money for expansion or scaling up, or for example R&D or whatever that is. Now they also will say, what is your plan to? Well, I've given you the money. How are you going to promote expand? Then the management plan. So do you have that kind of resources to even execute the plans what you have in mind? For example, you say, sir, I will do this R&D, I'll do this sales and marketing, I'll do this product development. And for doing all these 3 activities, I need money. Yeah, you need money, but you also need people. So do you have a management structure in place? It's two people who are heading the R&D and one person heading the sales and marketing. So that's a kind of a management plan what is it? Then you should have an operating plan. How are you going to execute it? What are the timelines? What are the milestones you will be reaching? When and how should be utilizing this money? In what time frame? And what will be, for example, 6 months down the line, what will be the major milestone that comes out? Of course, the financial plan and appendices and exhibits, which we will also know in the next slide. Please. So, executive summary, like I said, the executive summary section, see open business plan. That's the first thing that you see. And it provides a summary. And this is the catch. Normally, people try, they think, oh, it's a table of contents. First one is by executive summary, so start writing executive summary. No. Executive summary is something, is gist of all the other sections what you've got. So, unless and until you have drafted other sections and you take summary, snippets of each of these sections and then try to draft this executive summary kind of it. I mean, you can always debate and say, no, I have clarity in my mind, I know what I'm doing, so I can still draft executive summary first. Fine, if it works for you that way, there's a button. It's an easy thing to do it when you do the other sections easy. And normally when you do the other sections also you summarize it like a one paragraph or something. So ideally you cut copy paste that paragraph and make an executive summary kind of a thing. So it's much easier that way. So the executive summary should not exceed 2 pages. So don't get volumes in the executive summary because again the whole point of the summary is that it is a gist of the whole document. If you write a 10-page or 12-page executive summary, again that's not executive summary. One important thing to be covered under is whether the company's mission. Describe the company's product or the service offering. Either you have a product or company, then you can write about your product. If it is a service based, you can write. I hope you all know what is a product based and a service based companies. And just one more thing, if anyone anytime feels you are not getting it, please raise your hand and I'm okay to we'll keep the questions also to the fact end. But also if there is something which you're not following, because if you don't follow in this slide, you will not follow the following slides. So please feel free to raise your hand and ask. And three, like we said, market analysis, so demographics. And four, summarize the industry competition and how the company will capture a share of the development market. And not least, the operational plan, inventory, and other things such as manpower and other things. Yeah, please. So then after completing the summary, the industry overview. The industry overview is, for example, product manufacturing company. Say you are a robot manufacturer. So you know you're not the only one who manufactures robots. There are other people who are manufacturing robots. So you have to give them overall view. These are this 4 or 5 companies in this particular domain who are making robotics or robots or whatever that is, and how do I stand out? What is my USP, or how what is lacking in the market, and how I can fill the void kind of. So you have to justify yourself. You have to justify the reason why you're asking money. So that is one thing. And providing section includes major parameters. Like I said, you do a market survey, industry trends, and estimated revenues. So first and foremost, you describe the company's position in the industry. Today, you might not be even among the top 4 or top 5 or top 6. That's still okay. So the whole point you're asking money is that you want to get into the top 4, top 5. Or if you're already there in the top 4, top 3 or something, you're asking money to even cement your position. There are 2 ways or 3 ways of looking at it. You are completely a new player in the market, whereby there are already established players in the market, and you still say the market is so huge that there is enough room for players. Now, for example, if I take a classic example, take the organic vegetables market. Big Basket is there. Now, who all are there? Big Basket is there. Then there's, GeoMart is there, Instamart or these days. So there are so many players, but that doesn't stop you as a startup. If you are working with local farmers or someone, I know in our cohort we work with someone like this. There's one startup which is planning to get into this. So now, if you think there are already 4 or 5 major big players in the market and not have a foothold in the market, that's wrong because the market share is such that, and you have your own strategies to counter them, kind of a thing. Probably today you will not cater to all over India, but you can also protect your geography. So you justify your things. You say, oh yeah, but for example, Big Basket or GeoMart is not catering to this particular geography, and this is my USP, sir. I am catering to this particular geography, and that's where I need the money from, whatever that is. So you have to understand the existing competition and the major players in the industry. Provide information about the industry and the business will operate. That's what I said. So you say that there are competitors of those big players, but I still have my market share. Or I'm concentrating on a market where I can penetrate into the market and make my foothold. So, and then you also give an overview of if I get this particular, say, Gandhi area, I might target 100 customers in a day. So this is my estimated revenue. This is my estimated cost. So all of them. Then you say also first and foremost, you study the demographics of the market. You all understand demographics of the market, right? So demographics is very, very key, especially if you are planning to enter into the market. If you're an already established player, it still makes a quite a value, but still, if you are new into the business, it is very, very important. Like we said, the next one is the market and competition. So define your target market, their needs and their geographical location, like I rightly pointed out on my previous slide. So you need to identify the geographical location. What are the needs of particular customer base and so on. Then you discuss the size of the market, the company's products, the potential customers may buy, market changes, and overall economic changes. So these are all things which you also will come into your market analysis and competition. So we know we do a lot of market surveys, we do a lot of customer mapping, customer profiling, and all these things come into. See, like I said, business plan. Ideally, this topic should have been covered after all the sessions what have been done. I mean, like in terms of market strategies and all that. I feel a bit awkward to take this session as this on the second day because those sessions are not covered. So I'm assuming that people know of these things and then I'm cutting. And of course, you also give an overview of the estimated sales volume versus what competitors sell. So you do have again an analysis. The current market share is owned by Big Basket this much, Geo this much, and still there is a void of 10% or 20% or something. Let me concentrate on that. And once I get some foothold in the industry, I slowly churn the biggest players' market. Yeah, next one, please. This is the standard sales and marketing plan because if I'm asking a funding for, I should also have a sales and marketing plan in place. How am I going to utilize these funds? What am I going to do with this, and so on. Next one. Yeah, this is a kind of a bit critical also because whoever gives you money or whoever is funding you, whether it is a bank, whether it is a VC, or people also look at your overall management plan. It is not just that I have a great product or a great service and you please give me money is not happening. For example, I'll take the classic example of an academic institution. Your institution might be great. I mean, they have all the infrastructure, labs are great, facilities are great, transport facilities are great, everything is great. But if they don't have the effective resources, the heart of an academic teaching faculty, for example, if you don't have the right people to teach, how long will this sustain? Of course, other things are also important, but this is like this forms the crux of. So that is where we set the organizational structure of the company. And in the organizational structure of the company, clearly lay out various heads. If you are a company, there is a marketing department, there is a finance department, there is an engineering department, there is a customer service department, there is a marketing department. All organizational structure is very, very important. You cannot tell into a bank, oh, right now I am the sole owner of the company and I can manage everything. No, the bank doesn't understand. Because we are living in uncertain times. Anything, and that's one thing when I always say to startups also is investors or banks or anyone would also love to see what is the team because for some reason, so I'm saying I'm a one man company, for example. I have a great product, I have a great service, I'm doing great sales. I will be probably the next big thing happening or something. But an investor will not invest in my company just because it's a one man show. The reason being, God forbid something happens to me tomorrow. What happens to the investor's money? Who is going to take it forward? So they always look at a team. So no matter how much you know about the product, how much you know about the service, what you are rendering, it is always important to have a good team in place. If you don't have the right team in place, the chances are, I mean, you might still run the business, you might be still making money, but ideally, when it comes to a stage where you want to scale up, where you want to scale out, you will have problems because people doesn't want to come on board with the individual owners as a founders as a company because they always want to see a cross diversified team. That's what I also say. One of the things when you start a startup or a company is look for founders who are from diversified backgrounds. You are an engineer, you are a tech specialist, or you are a product specialist. Look for a co-founder who is background in finance, or who has a background in marketing, or who is very good with customer relations, kind of it. Ideally, it should be good because for whoever is looking to invest in your company, they also know they have a team in place. They are diverse. And again, if it is all women's team, great, nothing like it. But if you are also having a gender mix, it's even better because it's kind of how they call it. It's diversified again thought process in terms of how women think, how men think. It's all different. So that way it is more easy. And also, it's a also. And sometimes you also say, oh, I don't have a team in place, but I have consultants. I have people whom I can hire on a need basis, or I have advisors, or I have mentors. That also should be there in your business plan. That it's not only just me. I have people that I'm going wrong. I have a set of people who can put me back on track. So that's what. So that's what I said. Put a list of individual advisory board if I'm in it. That is another. Next, please. Then after all this, how are you going to now assume, yeah, okay, I made the business plan and I assume that I got my 1 crore, whatever I'm asking for. And, now what am I going to do with that? You also have to. So now, for example, one of you come to me and I say, I need money to scale up. I want to do this. I want to do that. I said, fine, I'll give you money. Now, what are you going to spend? Give me the plan. What are you going to do with this money? How are you going to spend it? That is your operating plan. So, where you are currently located, if there is office or warehouse or whatever it is, then you also say, yeah, I need this for one of this 1 crore. I'm going to give 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs to set up my office. Today I don't have an office. I have to set up an office, so 2 or 3 lakhs goes to this. I need the more people because I'm scaling out. I need more people. I have to hire people. I have to give them salaries. So that the labor requirement. Then the manufacturing processes. So you need to buy machines or kind of hire software or if you're service based. Then the cost comes out with equipment and machine. And also list of raw material requirements. So if you have the machine, you also have to buy raw materials to process and make it into a final product. So you need those also. The next one, please. After the operation plan comes the financial. Again, financial plan is a very detailed topic. It's you have to give them cash flow statements. You have to give them financial statements. You have to provide them with the last 1 or 2 year balance sheets. What you have done, whether you're a profit making, you're a loss making. If you're a loss making, why did you make a loss? All that comes into that too, that one. And so you've got to justify. It's not a problem even if you're not spending money because if you look at the typical product life cycle, the initial development stage is always a burnout. So that is where, unless you really are working with a standard product, if you're developing a product on your own, then there is always a burnout in the initial phases of the project. So that is where the financial plan all comes into the next one. And after all this, I know we covered that in like 10-15 minutes, but I didn't sit down to write each of these. It will take weeks. It's not that simple as we discuss it here, but these are the fundamental elements what need to be going into business. So you have a operating plan, you have a financial plan, you have the organizational structure, you have a marketing strategy. All these things form the crux of it. And after all this, still there might be certain, how you call it, typical report writing. You say you can't include them in the major report, so you put them as an attachments or an appendices or kind of additional evidence in the PowerPoint. So, for example, so you said for my machinery part, I need 30 lakhs. You said, okay. And for example, you say, I'm buying a car on my company because I have to travel a lot. Then he says, okay, you're buying a car, fine. Which car are you buying? He suddenly said, I want to buy a Mercedes. Okay, it's 60 lakhs. Out of the 1 crore I'm asking you, I'm buying a Mercedes for 60 lakhs. Then he asks you justification. Why 60 lakhs? You can buy a car for 10 lakhs. So then you will put a quote or something. Oh, I've done the market. Also, I've went to various vendors. I found out there is a car in 10 lakhs, there's a car in 15 lakhs, so submit the quotations. And he says, no, forget Mercedes, take the 10 lakhs. So this is the budget cutting. So that's the kind of, so I have to to get the processes done. So and then you say, okay, whom all you contacted? I went to a local guy, a contractor. He gave me a quotation for 20 lakhs. I went to a reputed builder. He gave me a quotation for 50 lakhs. Then that's how the justification you put all these quotes and you show it, and that's how things happen. And credit information of the owners, list of product, and also credit information of the owners is also one reason where financial institutions look. For example, if you go, forget about startup, forget about companies and all, you as an individual go and apply. The first thing they ask is, can you give me a credit report or credit score or whatever that is? Because that is an instrument which will enable them to understand what is your repaying capacity or how good are you or how good are you with your finances and so on. So those are the additional things which will why support of you when you make such reports. Next, please. So that brings us more or less to end of what is a business plan, how it should be made, kind of thing. Now, if for anyone, if you have any, before we proceed to the next topic, what is product time and its importance, can anyone any doubts in business plan, or you want to ask any question regarding a business plan or how it should be or what it should be, kind of anyone? Don't be shy. Shoot it. I'm also learning. If I know, I'll answer it. If I don't know, I'll simply say I don't know. No questions whatsoever. Everyone followed business plan. So tomorrow you'll just straight away draft. How many of you startups or wannabe startups? No one. So what do you want to get into a startup world? Okay, so I don't even know how. Then okay, so coming to the next topic, product planning. What is product planning? Anyone just you can read it here, but can anyone say what is product planning? Can be louder. It's like you can. Oh, your opinion is very shy. Sorry. Okay. So that is product development. That see, this is one major thing always happens. Is people often get confused between product planning and product development. That is the reason why I asked. So, I mean, nothing to feel about it. It's all fine. When I was learning, I also thought the same way as you did. So it's a completely a different topic. Product development is entirely different. Product planning is entirely different. So, for example, product planning is simple processes. Businesses use plan the development of a new product. So it is vital for a product development, but it is not product development. I'll tell you why it is. It centers around the internal processes that are required for a product to be developed. It does not include marketing and deployment, as these are external aspects of product development. And those will be separate, covered in a separate topic, GTM, which we call it as a go-to-market plan. So simply put, after all that, the product planning process is planning of the product development and management. So you are actually planning how a product should be developed. The actual development comes at a later stage. It is only like in your thought process, you are putting up systems in place. First, I need to understand what material or what size the product should be, or how light it should be, or how heavy it should be, in what time frame I have to build this. This is the planning process. This is not the development process. The development process comes when you go physically hands-on, you go to a prototyping machine, you print 3D printing, and then you suddenly feel, no, this is not happening. The wing should be a bit lengthier, or the tail should be a little shorter, whatever. If you're building an aeroplane, for example, with wing and tails like that. Yeah, that is the problem. That is more spending more time on how actually the product should be the product development. But before that, all the brainstorming what goes into how it should be, not actually the design part, but in what phases, in what timelines, in what exact sequence the whole thing has to happen. That is called the. Oh, is that fine?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, and when we said about the product life cycle, that will come here in the next slide. It doesn't act. So that is where it doesn't include any actual product development, but rather focus on putting a strategy in place for developing a product. So that is in simple one line. So it doesn't actually involve any product development, but it involves a strategy, and a process in place for developing it. Next one, please. So, if we, many of you are from IT industry here, I guess, and you all know agile thing. Anyone? You all know agile. What is agile processes and all that. So, I'll just take a classic example of that. So, what is most dominant and successful product planning? It was developed as a way to organize software development, academy, and product. So what we are doing here is whenever services we do a product development in softwares, agile product development focus on organizing. So we call this typically you have something called a project management plan, PMP, a template, or so you have a task on one side, you have a duration of the task, the second thing, ownership of the task, and then you also give in this timeline what is a deliverable or what is the milestone achieved. That is a typical. So your product development or your product planning also is split into various tasks. First of all, will be even to build a design team. That is your first task. If you want to build a product, what you're going to do first? Somebody has to build the product, right? So you have to identify. Yes, I'll take this girl, I'll take this lady, and then we start building onto it. So first, so that is your first task. The second task comes in is you need resources. What resources I need to build that product, right? I mean, for example, if you're building like I said, you're building an aeroplane. You need some materials to build it. No matter you're not making a big aeroplane, you're making a small aeroplane. Making a small aeroplane, you still need aluminium, or you need some rubber wheels, or you need some sensors, or you need some kind of electronic, whatever motors or whatever. So you list out all the equipment what is needed. Then you also see what is the cost implications. So these are all, and how long will it take to procure these materials. So this is all your planning process. This is not actual. Once in terms of planning, these are the things what you require is, so you do a detailed analysis of what are the steps involved to make that product. That is product. Can we go for the next one? So, like I said, what are the different steps involved in product planning? So, if we say first is ideation. So, you have to have an idea. What are you going to build? Whether it is even possible. You can always say, I have an idea. I'm going to build a time machine. That's an idea. Idea can be anything. Now, whether it is feasible, whether it's not feasible, what you want to do with it, how you going to make it is the next stage. This is the ideation stage. I have an idea. I know how to realize this or what to do with it. Then you do a market research. You have an idea, but there are already 10 time machines in the market. Why are you building it? That is the first one. You can still build the 11th one, provided you say all the 10 existing ones doesn't serve this purpose, and so my 11th one will serve the purpose. So that's when we do a market research. So why you do a market research is, even though there are 100 products there in the market, they are not able to serve the purpose why my product is going to do. That is what it is. And after you do a market study and all, then you do the testing. Like I said, the wing is less, the body is more, whatever you want for. Then you do a product testing, and then comes the product testing. So these are the different steps. Why I'm saying product maturity is, I don't know how many of you know the product life cycle curve, the bell curve. You all know the bell curve. So what are the stages of the bell curve? Okay. So after growth, what comes in? Maturity. Maturity, and what typically what you do when you reach a maturity stage, or before you reach a maturity stage? No, before you reach there is growth. Once you reach, after the growth, there is maturity, and after the maturity, it is decline. So, what you do as a company, you will keep your hands folded and say, what are you going to do? New product is something else. There is something else. Typical technical term for it. You heard anyone heard about a disruption, innovation? So, what you do typically is in your product life cycle, from initiation, before initiation, there is a development phase. So the moment you are started to tick off the growth phase, you again your R&D team or your lead team goes back to their drawing boards to do a development or a research kind of a thing. That is how iPhone does. Now the moment iPhone 10 is in the market, now how the growth curve is, what is it still reaching or how is it reaching? The research team or the R&D team will not dare do this again. Okay, once I launch the project, my job starts again. They go back again to the drawing board, how I can make it better and make an iPhone 11. So now the moment I'm reaching this growth kind of a thing, I immediately push the 11 into the market. Now whenever the declines, okay, जो भी हो रहा है. But then I already have my other product in the pipeline. And this is slowly ticking off. I start iPhone 12. Now, by the time this reaches, I will launch it. So you keep pumping, and that is what we call it. So the actual bell curves are like bell curve, and by the time this reaches, there is another bell curve in the making. If you all observed typically a banana tree how it works, banana tree once in its lifetime. After once the bananas are formed, it's of no use. It's no use की बात नहीं है, but it won't give you any fruit after. So what happens? By the time this is almost ready to bear the fruit or something, there is a shoot coming next to it. There is a shoot coming. So by the time this is done, it's done. The next one is ready. That's a classic example of innovation in life. Now the second one, by this time, is there are always around 4 or 5 Indian around it. So once you plant a banana thing, it is like continuously it is happening. It's like the same iPhone version, 11, 12, 13, चलता रहता है, unless you don't want to continue. No, that's a classic example. That's what I'm trying to say. So that is product life cycle. Product maturity, we all know. That's why That is your product planning comes in. That's where I'm saying you might always think, oh, if I dal diya, ho gaya, now it's done. Why I have to do a product planning? We have to do product planning because every product has a shelf life. And you don't want to do something after it's declining in maturity or it's declining. So your planning is the moment the testing is done and it is ready to be deployed, your whole core team will again go back to the drawing board and start you will catch those in the afternoon session. That's more interesting. Yeah, can you go to the next one, please? So again, in detail, if we talk about the first is there is usually a speed of the idea of what the product should look like and accomplish. Like I said, you have some clarity of thought in your head that this is how it should be, this is what it should be. So and however this initial ideas and concepts are defining the customer factors like how will this product be the home and work for users and the accessibility needs, cost the customer, etc. So those are all part of the product development. In the planning stage, you will not know how it will be. That those are all the that part you leave to your engineers. Next one, like I said again, market research, concrete idea, whether the market needs it or not, is there a demand for it? Again, we know the market pull, market push. Whether there is if there is a market pull, you are in a better position. If there is a market push, you all understand market pull and market push, right? Yeah, so that's what. Yeah, in the third stage of product planning, you want to come up with a methodology for testing. You don't need to be worried about testing the product right now. Development here, rather you're making tests and estimation of when that product will exist. For instance, if you're developing a hand tool, you might use a test that includes your non-dominant hand. This can help you spot. So these are, for example, if you're planning to develop a hammer, so planning to develop a hammer. So these days hammers are like the traditional ones used to come with a log of wood. They don't have any gripping thing or something. So in your planning stage, you can always think, how can I make it better? If I take a metal handle or something, it will be too heavy. If I take a wood thing, probably I have to replace it more and more often. So those are the things what goes into the planning phases. Next one, please. The first stage deals with your product after its launch. Again, you are not planning how your product will launch. Instead, product management maturity focus continued development after the product launch. That's what I was telling you. So it's a continued effort, development or kind of a product design. Continued effort. Definitely, there will be issues and improvements to a product that only become apparent once it's the hands of hundreds of thousands of individuals. Now, classic example again, uh, I can think of is cars. Cars, what happens today? Innova comes in. Innova comes again with what 6 or 7 vehicles. Again, they just want to fool around people. This comes with 4 airbags. This comes 6 airbags. That this. The moment Innova Krista is launched, Innova is launched, and in 3 months or something, there's a new model of Innova. Again, Innova Krista. Creta was there. Then they bought another Creta. Then they bought another Creta. So these are like your the moment you feel that yeah my sales is declining or something is a I have to take shit back. That's the kind of it. Next one, please. And we discuss the product lines, how it will look like, and so on. So yeah, that's fine. Right? Later. So yeah, next one. So in a summary, what are we talking about? Product planning, product development. Product planning is the process of outlining the product development. So it's not actually doing the product development, but you are on the periphery, on an outlining thing. This and this and this and this is what is required for product development. So you are only listing out the stages of product development, but in a very uh, how I call it is in a very broadish manner. So product development on the other hand is development of your product. This might involve, for example, if you're a service-based organization, this might involve coding, design. A classic example. If you're a service-based app, you're a startup who are planning to make an app. So you know there is an app required. So the product development is actually writing the code, designing the dashboards, how it should look like, and what it needs to be. That is the actual product development. Product planning comes in this, in which language the code has to be written. For example, I don't know, I'm a very human in IT, but it has to be written in COBOL or it has to be written in, I don't know, whatever the other languages are. So that is the planning part. And whether you again write the code by yourself or you will use the existing code, that also comes as a part of the planning process. Next one, please. Now, after the product planning, the next topic is product mix strategy. Product mix. Again, this will be more interesting, I feel, because this is more about hands-on product mix strategies. So, a product mix strategy is a marketing strategy that analyzes the company's existing products and allocates resources and efforts on product lines and products to best promote them to a specific market or audience. So, what is product mix? If I have to put it in layman terms, um, four piece is entirely a different thing. That part will come to later. On these days, no more four piece. There have been seven piece actually, but that's okay. Four piece will come at a later stage. The product mix strategy is more of a, how you call it. Take classic example of your Hindustan Unilever. You all know Hindustan Unilever company, right? Unilever company. Lux is their soap. Lux is their soap. Do you also know that they also make other soaps? The same company. It's not like they are creating a competition. They have a mix of products in the same category, in the same. It is like for someone who wants to use Dove, they are a premier customer, so they will use. It is the same thing like your car company. Maruti is also making Alto. Maruti is also making Wagoner. Maruti is also making Brezza. Maruti is also making now Jimmy and all that. So everyone, customer, someone who can afford only 2 lakhs is buying Alto. Somebody who can afford 10 lakhs or something is buying S Cross. So all of them are cars on, and all of them are Maruti's products on, but they have a mix of products. It's like a basket of products. So if I have to put it in simple terms, you take a basket, put all your products in there, it's a product mix. That's ideally simple way if I have to. Now with more examples. Yeah. So product mix, another name as product assortment refers to several products that a company offers to its customers. For example, a company might sell multiple lines of products with the product lines being differently split, such as toothpaste, toothbrush, mouthwash, and also so they also need not be the same product, but they can also be like complementing products also. So, but they are more or less it's oral hygiene. For if I call it oral hygiene, everything comes under oral hygiene. Toothpaste, toothbrush, tongue cleaner, mouthwash, and whatever gums and all that. All those come. And next. So, how we define this is major elements of a product. So, we call it length, breadth, and depth. Those are the three terms I would love. So, the breadth is the number of product lines of the company. I'll take examples. So, breadth is the number of product lines of the company. Depth is the options available in a particular product line, such as different quantities, sizes, etc. So, the same thing as is. Then there's a toothpaste comes in a 50 gram, 100 gram, or comes in a sachet. Better. The consistency is how closely the different product lines are to one another. So, if you look at many businesses that sell multiple products, use product lines and product boxes to monitor the different products in the different customers. I'll come back to them. Can you go to the next one, please? So now this is the typical product strategy. One is expansion. So means you have 10 products, but then you still see that there is enough market, or I want to competitor share. You expand it to 20 products. That is expansion in simple terms. Contraction. You already have 20 products, but You know, you have identified certain products are not at all moving, so you want to discontinue them or something, then you contract. So, for example, contraction, one example is the automobile industry. Volkswagen, for that matter. Volkswagen discontinued their car products. So I'll just take a classic example. For example, Hindustan Unilever has various products and products such as toilet soap, detergent, cleaning, washing powder, power products. Now, apart from all these, same thing, for example, someone who is making biscuits. They're making biscuits, they're making chocolates, they're making whatever, cakes or whatever. It's all edible items. Suddenly they realize that and also some make the Tupperware to store these biscuits. So today biscuit comes in once you open the packet, it is gone. So then suddenly realize that I can add value by launching a product where they can store these biscuits or chocolates or whatever that XYZ is. So they launch something in terms of a Tupperware or in terms of a glass jar or something. That is expansion. That is they're launching a new product which will complement their existing. Okay, next one please. So contraction. Contraction is like I said, sometimes consisting of dropping or eliminating one of the product, more product lines or product items. Here, so like I said, some models or varieties or some particular products, no matter how much aggressive marketing you do, how much you pump into it, it is not taking off. Suddenly the market doesn't want it. So the best thing to do at that point of time is rather than spending more and more and trying to push it more into the market, at some stage you're wise enough to think that no matter how much more money you're going to put into this, it's not going to kick off. So you withdraw the product. That's as simple as it. Well, there is one car. The same Wagoner you buy in 2021, they say we have added a few more features. So that means they are altering so that the customer doesn't want to go to any other player because they suddenly feel, oh, Wagoner is only two airbags, but I want four airbags. Then they say, no, no, sir. The 2021 model, we also have understood that the customer needs four. So we have modified our car or we have altered or we have added some features onto it so that it will be ready for the market. So this is called as alteration or modification kind of a thing. That is when we say alteration or changes the existing performance. And developing anywhere else also, it's a social stigma. I don't want to move with the same. If you are a salesman or even a company, what do you think is more easier, selling a Maruti or selling a Ferrari? How many are saying selling a Maruti is easier? What will you do as a commoner? Before buying a Maruti, you go into the Maruti showroom, talk to the salesman, ask him how much is this car, what mileage it will give you, can I get a loan on this? If I get a loan on this, how much my EMI would be? Is there if I don't take these features, how much the price will come down? You will ask him left, right, center. Okay, for 1 hour or 2 hours, you are going to grill him. Fine. After all that, what will you do? Okay, I also know that Santro is also